My name is Natasha. My close friends call me Tasha or Tosh. I have an online moniker called Fleur, and I'm a painter. I have a lot of identities. They're constantly changing, but my main ones are that I'm half Thai, half Chamorro, which is an island in the Pacific. I'm a bisexual woman. I am an art curator and experiencer. I'm spiritual. I'm a double Scorpio, Leo, and that's it. Before I moved to America, I was born and raised in Micronesia in an island called Saipan. The people there are called Chamorros. And the language and the culture itself is very indigenous. And I think that's really like dope, cool that I'm a part of this like really small population that, you know, a lot of the world doesn't know about. Being able to speak Thai, I'm able to communicate with my grandparents and my family over there. So I love all those things. I love that I'm able to understand and like be a part of groups of people. The social spaces that I feel my identities are most nurtured are in social events such as like clubs, parties, art museums, any type of like art-related network gathering, the temple, that's it. I feel those spaces make me nurtured because I don't have to worry about how I'm perceived, nor do I care about being perceived. Identity is not usually something that I'm thinking about when I'm with people. It's not something that's always asked of me. I don't like the people that I'm around don't really care about identities. They just care about like conversation and how we are to one another. So spaces like that, identities don't really come up. It's just not a big deal. I like to show up to places very fitted. I like coming off as well kept. Don't get me wrong, we all have like our messy days and stuff. I like to play with femininity and masculinity. I like the second takes that people have of me. I like tattoos, which is funny because I only have one. But when we get there, don't be surprised if I just pull up one day with like a whole body tattoo. Like, it'll happen. I resonate the most with being an artist and a painter specifically, just because that's the identity that I chose for myself and continue to choose. I use my craft to express my identities by using painting as a response to love, to grief, to change. I don't really care about my art connecting with other people. That's always like an afterthought. I care like about how it makes me feel. And I feel like my thoughts and my identities are always changing, and so is my art. Like a lot of people ask me what my niche is, and I don't really have a niche. I think my niche is that I don't have one, and that I'm always, you know, like changing my style. Like first, for a long time, I was a portrait artist specializing graphite. And all of a sudden, like I'm out here using all these colors, all these like different styles of painting. I don't know, I feel like in the next 5 years, who knows what my art is gonna be, but it's always a response to something that's happening in my life. My favorite part about being a painter would just be being able to respond without having to speak. I don't really have the words or know-how to say like on huge topics, you know, like controversial ones like race, like sexuality and all those different things that we all argue about. And instead I use that as, you know, a means to just offer out into the world. I like to refer to my pieces as offerings instead. Being a painter, you know, allows me to get my emotions through. I don't always paint for profit. and for gain. I usually try to paint things that I'm trying to say. It's given me a community. I believe that everyone should have a creative friend because of that. Your life is gonna change forever if you have a creative friend. It just offers like so many different perspectives. And I feel like we're all trying to say the same thing and feel the same thing, and we like feel the same ways without, knowing. So it's just a beautiful thing. From past experiences, the most common misconceptions about my identity were always the physical first. So people would look at me and just assume and perceive me as Asian, which is half correct, but I always care about both my ethnicities because I am mixed. I'm not like one, I'm both. I've had, like, for example, like people come up to me and just speak to me in Spanish. Like, I'm thankful that I can understand like "Cómo estás," the basic, but like I just respond back in English and like surprise them a little bit. Another misconception would be I'm well achieved. In terms of my career in art, I have accomplishments, but I'm never satisfied with them. I feel like I haven't even touched my peak in terms of my art and what I can do. I would just say I'm starting off with everybody the same level. I feel like there are goals that I haven't met. So to say that they want to be like me is just like, thanks, but like, do you? Another one is people always assume that I'm straight till I'm not, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a misconception about my identity because it's something that you can teach someone. I don't fault them for anything unless it's like blatant disrespect, right? And then you gotta. My favorite parts of being bisexual would have to be the unlimited amount of people that I could be with. I feel like there's no run out of people I could see, meet, and talk to. The community itself is beautiful. I love surrounding myself with like-minded people. I usually am always surrounded by like-minded individuals. It's just another identity that, makes me different, and I like that. I don't like being perceived as very basic, and I think that's very not. It's very the opposite of that. The role models I had growing up that represented me were first my parents. I chose a lot of qualities that I liked in my parents and took that for my own. Before I moved to the mainland, I was 15. So at that age, I didn't really have a strong grasp of like how to be in the world. So it was something I didn't care about. So I was just being. Identity is so like question mark, because I don't think about it. My favorite thing about being me is I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for other people. I kind of see myself as like a chameleon. I can almost, I observe first and I always change my verbiage and language to like be relatable to the other person, not to be the same as them, but to communicate the same ways so that we both could have understanding. Another thing about me that I love is my decision making. So when I made the decision to, drop out and just pursue art full time, that was the most like pivotal moment. Like you choose a path and like you stay on it. And that's another thing I love about me is that I stick to my guns and I realize what's for me and I just choose it.